Hi everyone, welcome back. I thought it was about time that we did another Speak With Me lesson. And in today's lesson, we are going to practice speaking about our hometowns. The way that it's going to work is I will ask you questions, about 5 in total, and I'll give you some time to reply to me with your own answers. And at the end of that time, which you can pause if you need a little bit more time to reply, I will then give you example answers of what you might say in these situations. I'm also going to include some useful and important phrases in case you are taking any of the English exams. I'll highlight those as well so I can draw your attention to these phrases that will be really good for scoring extra points in the exams. Don't worry if your answers don't match mine. I'm sure they're just as good. You can always use the comment section to answer the questions, and I'm really happy to give you some feedback to let you know if you're using the language in the correct way. So if you're ready, let's get straight into our conversation. Hi, I'm thinking of spending a few days in your city next month, and I was wondering if you could help me with a few questions that I have. Would you recommend staying in a hotel or renting an apartment? From my point of view, a hotel is by far the best option if you want to come to my city. Comparing the prices with other cities, prices are incredibly reasonable. Furthermore, you won't need to worry about cooking and cleaning. And seeing as you'll only be here for a few days, this will free up some time to make the most of the city. I would most definitely recommend staying in an apartment as it will give you so much more flexibility than a hotel. Not only are there plenty of centrally located apartments, but you can also save money by making some meals at home. Personally speaking, I'd rather have a bit more privacy, which you are more likely to get while staying in an apartment. Yeah, thanks a lot. That's super helpful. I think I'm going to stay in a hotel. I think for me personally, that would be more convenient. What's the public transport like? We have plenty of public transport in my city, including buses, trains, and the underground. On the whole, I'd say that the quality is definitely worth the price. I'd recommend getting a 4-day public transport pass, which will work out far cheaper than buying all the tickets individually. The only problem is that the trains are often packed during rush hour when people commute to work. So if you can avoid peak times, you'll find it much less stressful. To be honest, I'd avoid using public transport in my town. It's overpriced and poor quality as it hasn't been updated in years. In any case, my city is relatively small. It's far smaller than London, for example, so you don't really need to depend on public transport. Personally, I prefer to get around on foot or by bike, and moreover, you'll be able to get off the beaten track a bit and see parts of the city you might not otherwise have seen. That's really good to know, thanks. And what about the things that I absolutely must do while I'm there? Well, if the weather is good, I definitely recommend checking out the park in the centre of the city. You could even pack a picnic and chill out with the locals on the beautiful lawns there. And while you're in the park, you can also take a look at the statue in honour of the founder of our city. On the other hand, if it's a bit drizzly or a bit cloudy, you might prefer to pay a visit to one of the museums or art galleries, depending on whether you're more into history or art. My personal favourite is the Natural History Museum, as not only does it have a lot of interesting information, but it's also set up to be interactive. You can while away a few hours there until the clouds clear. At night, you absolutely must go to the main street, which has incredible nightlife. It's so vibrant and wonderful to see all the people hanging out and just having a great time. I'll be sure to check that out when I'm there. Now, would you say that your city's expensive? How much money do you think I'll need to get by while I'm there? Well, this is probably one of the things that will surprise you the most, as my city is such good value for money. You'll only need a small amount to get by, since the museums are free and it's so cheap to eat out. Even if you decide to hit the shops, you'll struggle to overspend. Sorry to say, but it's said that my city is one of the most expensive in the world. Everything seems to be way overpriced, whether that's the cost of public transport or the price of food. Honestly speaking, you'll probably need to save up for a while to make sure that you have enough money to get by and to make the most of your trip. That's great. I just have one more question. I'm sorry to pick your brain so much, but could you recommend any places to eat? Absolutely. Depending on your budget and your preferences, there are a few fantastic places to eat. On the one hand, if you're trying to cut down on expenses, I would recommend this little restaurant. It's away from the tourist traps, so it's much more reasonably priced. And what makes it stand out is the quality of the food. They have a fantastic chef who makes traditional local dishes. It's a real must. On the other hand, if you want to push the boat out a bit and you can afford it, one of my personal favourites is down by the river. While it's not as cheap as the other restaurant, the quality is just as good and the location is second to none. Maybe you could give both restaurants a try on different days and let me know what you think. Thanks so much for all your help. I'll give you a call when I get there and we'll meet up for a coffee and a chat. So how did you do? Did you manage to answer all of the questions? Don't forget to leave me a comment in the comment section below with your answers. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you've learned something new. See you next time.